Hello, internets, and welcome to another Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. You can call me 12-pack, and the battle I have for you today is against somebody called Scott. Now, no particular history behind this battle, so without further ado, we'll jump right into team preview. My team. I am using another team that is designed to get up as much entry hazard and other kinds of support as possible so that late in the game I can bring in my sweeper and potentially clean up the rest of my opponent's team. So with that in mind, let's begin. Starting off here, we've got my Masquerain. Now, you may not know this, but Masquerain is actually one of only a few Pokemon that get access to Sticky Web. So that is why this is on the team. And in addition to that, it also has Quiver Dance and Baton Pass, which can be fairly useful overall to boost up one of your special attackers or even give some special defense to somebody else. And it also has Whirlwind to prevent itself from getting set up on, and the ability is Intimidate, which is an excellent ability and really helps Masquerain stay alive a little bit longer because its defenses are terrible. And I'm running Focus Sash on it to try to amend that to some degree anyway, so it makes a really solid lead, and I believe I lead with it in this game. Next up, we've got my Cofagrigus. Now, Cofagrigus is an amazing Pokemon. I've recently taken to using him again, only with a different set than I was running before. Now, I use him instead of a mean look Curse Trapper, I use him with Infestation Curse Trap. And it actually works a lot better because Infestation lasts for 5 turns, and Curse will kill any Pokemon in 4 turns, I believe. And when you couple that with Will-O-Wisp damage, or burn damage, I should say, and running a Rocky Helmet on Cofagrigus, you wear down any physical threats within like 2-3 turns easily if you're able to get all of that off and still be alive. And I'm also running Rest on this Cofagrigus just to give myself some sustain while I'm waiting for my opponents to die. Basically, if there's a 1v1 and Cofagrigus is my last Pokemon, I automatically win. So next up, we've got my late game sweeper that I mentioned. This is my Rampardos, which is actually one of my favorite Pokemon overall. And I used to use him all the time, actually. I have 2 old sets from X and Y with him. But in Oras here, I upgraded my set on him to include rock polish on this one. This is a sheer force rock polish Rampardos, and the idea with him is to get up as much hazard support as possible, bring him in a safe switch, preferably against a wall, get up that rock polish, and then proceed to outspeed and OKO everything remaining on my opponent's team. After 1 rock polish, Rampardos' speed is well, if you double 236, that's 472 at level 100, so there's nothing basically that's going to be faster than him, especially with Sticky Web on the field. His only real enemy is Priority, so I have to kind of get rid of anything that might be able to outspeed me and hit me with like a Bullet Punch or Mach Punch or whatever. But anyway, next up on the team here we got my Audino. This is the standard Cleric Audino I've been using for a while, holding the Audinite, just basically to give myself something to switch into knockoffs, and as I think regular Audino is superior to Mega Audino, but it doesn't really need an item thanks to carrying Wish and having Regenerator. And speaking of Regenerator, the next poke we have on my team is a Slowking, which I've been wanting to use again for quite a while now. This is a new Slowking set I just made the other day actually, and it's got Assault Vest. So max HP, max special attack with Modest, 4 special attacks, and Assault Vest with Regenerator basically makes you a Goodra that has free recovery whenever you switch out. I mean, he has a little less special attack and special defense than Goodra, but he essentially works in the same way with his great coverage. And then finally, to round off the team here, we just got my Forretress, which is here to lay hazards as it normally is, and it's got both types of spikes, rocks, and rapid spin. And it's kind of essential for this team to function because without entry hazard support, there's a good chance Rampardos is not going to be able to OKO the remaining things on my opponent's team when it becomes time for him to take the field. So my opponent's team, I honestly, well, okay, there's one cool thing on that team, and that's Tyranitar. I get that T-Tar is OU, but he's actually my favorite Pokemon, so I can't hate on him too much. But the rest of his team is pretty scrub-a-dub-dub. He's got Rotom Wash, God, Rotom Wash, Aegislash, which is in Ubers now, but whatever. I don't really mind fighting it a ton. It's kind of predictable these days. Next up, we got Garchomp, and that's always a problem, especially since I don't have anything other than Slowking with an Ice move. And then Slurpuff, which I gotta say, from an aesthetic point of view, I think Slurpuff is one of the dumbest Pokemon in the game. I'm sorry if you like it, but to me, it's just really stupid. And I hate it for that reason. And then next up, we got Sableye, which is always kind of difficult to deal with thanks to that prankster priority in Will-O-Wisp. So getting rid of that would be imperative before my Rampardos could come in for a sweep. So without further ado, let's get going here and play.
Scott is issuing a challenge. Nah.
I'm just going to take a sip of water. Okay, so I led with my, what do you call it here, this thing, and he led with Sableye. And right off at the bat, I was kind of predicting him to go for Will-O-Wisp, so I thought I'd try to get off my Sticky Web, but he actually went for Taunt, which reveals to me that he is actually carrying Taunt, so I'm going to swap straight out into my Slowking here, predicting that Will-O-Wisp to come in now. And he actually missed on it, which is unfortunate for him, but he taunts me on the following turn with Prankster, and I'm able to get off a Scald, which does a little over half his health, I want to say, and this turn he lands the Will-O-Wisp, which isn't going to matter at all to Slowking, particularly since I am a special attacker. And I'm able to get the clean 2-hit KO on Sableye 5 turns into the game, so that was a huge advantage for me at the start of the match here, as Rotom is obviously going to be the switch in now, and he's going to fire with the Thunderbolt. Now, since I have Regenerator, I figured I'd stay in just to see how well Slowking took this for future reference, and go for the Psyshock, which does about a quarter to a third of Rotom's health there. And my taunt wears off, which does not matter, but I am going to withdraw this game as I can't actually get the 2-hit KO on Rotom as well. Go out into my Audino, and the Thunderbolt is going to come in again, and I'm going to eat that up easily, even after a critical hit. So this turn he actually goes for Substitute, and normally that would be fairly concerning, but since I took that Thunderbolt so well, I'm not really worried about it. And I go for the knockoff there, predicting him to want to Volt Switch that turn. But he's just going to go for another Thunderbolt, maybe trying to get the paralysis on my Audino. And I'm going to go for a Wish here because critical hit will take me out in another turn or two if I don't have more health. And he goes out and fires the Hydro Pump, landing it and doing, what, 67 damage, so not too bad, but I'm not going to take another one. And this turn I'd gone for the Heal Bell to get rid of the burn on Slowking, just on the off chance he needs to stay in the field later for a prolonged period of time, and the Hydro Pump's going to come yet again here, landing on me, and bringing me down to 94 HP, so I gotta go for another Wish, obviously. I could actually stall him out of Hydro Pumps here. I know it would be kind of annoying and boring, but that was an option at the moment, and I think he's starting to realize that without a critical hit, there's no way he's going to be able to stop this Audino before I break his sub and eventually kill him in turn. So he's going to withdraw and send in Slurpuff, which in the back of my head I was sort of thinking that that might be a possibility because Slurpuff likes to come in and set up with Belly Drum. So I was sort of thinking that it might want to do that while I'm just sitting here wishing my time away, but I did have a failsafe in the form of my Focus Sash Masquerain with that Whirlwind, and since he didn't get up any entry hazards, that was going to be a possibility for me to get rid of this Slurpuff at a later date without it sweeping through my entire team. So, sure enough, he did go for the Belly Drum as I was saying that and get some health back with the Citrus Berry, and go straight for the Drain Punch on my Forretress, doing almost 50% of my health, and taking a bit of damage with that Rocky Helmet, which isn't really going to turn out to matter at all because he gets the health back that he is losing from the helmet damage. So he goes for another Drain Punch. I was able to get up my rocks that turn. And this turn, I'm going to be able to get up one layer of spikes, and I figured that was good enough. I didn't really need to get down toxic spikes because a good deal of his team was actually immune to it, and Burn would be better off on a couple other things, so I left Forretress in there to go down with the ship, Slurpuff's being at about 4/5 health there, and I'm going to send in my Masquerain here, which is going to get the Intimidate drop, although at +5 attack, Slurpuff's still easily going to be able to drop me in one hit. However, thanks to me running Focus Sash, I'm able to safely Whirlwind this thing out and prevent it from cleaning up the remainder of my team. So see you later, Slurpuff, no one likes you, and that's going to pull in Aegislash, and I was like, ah shit, this isn't particularly a great thing to bring in against Masquerain, because now this thing's going to set up Swords Dance on me, but I figured since he knows I have Whirlwind, he might try to go for a Shadow Sneak to pick me off and not actually set up, because if he did set up, then he'd just get Whirlwinded out. So I went out into my Audino, predicting that Shadow Sneak to come in. Sure enough, there it goes. Audino blocks it due to her being normal type. And now, this turn, I see that he has leftovers, so if I knock him off, I'm not going to activate any weakness policy shenanigans, so I'm free to go for it and do a huge chunk of damage. And he's going to fire back with that Sacred Sword and do a large sum to me in return. Not wanting to take another one of those, I'm going to be forced to withdraw and send in my Cofagrigus here, predicting another Sacred Sword, but he actually goes into defensive stance and goes for that King's Shield, so this turn he's going to want to withdraw, not wanting to get burned by my Cofagrigus, which most of them do carry, but he does switch into Garchomp, which I thought was kind of an interesting choice, because why would you want your Garchomp to get burned either? And sure enough, that Will-O-Wisp does land on the Chomp. He's effectively not going to be able to touch my Cofagrigus whatsoever, since I have 440 odd defense at level 100. So he's actually carrying Crunch, which I guess is why he swapped, but thanks to me having Will-O-Wisp, he's not going to be able to do nearly enough to me before I wear him down. And he took some Rocky Helmet damage as well. So this turn I go for the Infestation, trapping him in here, making sure he's here to stay until he wears himself down. And there's something I didn't know. I'm pretty sure Infestation's a special attack, but I actually took Rocky Helmet damage from using it there, so that's something I've never seen before. Anyway, he's going to go for another Crunch. I guess just trying to do as much damage as possible to me while he gets worn down. And I'm just going to go for the rest here, get back all my health. And I was kind of concerned that this guy was going to DC at this point, just because of how defensively and stallish I've been playing. But hey, buddy, you're going to bring a team like that, then I'm going to do everything I can to shut it down. So Rotom's going to come in. I actually have 0 special defense investment, so that's not a good switch for me to stay in against. So I'm going to swap out into my Audino once again here. He goes for the Thunderbolt this turn, and I eat it up, not taking hardly anything at all, and then dodge a Hydro Pump on the next turn. So Audino definitely is a major factor in checking the majority of this guy's team, and this turn he does actually land a Hydro Pump, doing a sizable sum, but I'm going to be free to go for the knockoff, and that's something I noticed just now. His Rotom was not actually carrying an item to my knowledge, and I'm not really sure why. So what's he have? Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Substitute, and I don't know that trick works if you're not running an item of your own, but that's kind of what I'm thinking his last move might have been. I don't know. But anyway, it was kind of weird. Maybe he just forgot to put it on. But I'm just going to continue to sit here walling Rotom, and oh, it's Volt Switch is his last move, okay. So yeah, I guess maybe he just forgot to put the item on, and he gets a crit with Volt Switch, which isn't going to matter in the slightest, and Slurpuff is going to come back out and potentially set up yet again, and I was kind of afraid of this happening, since he did try to do that the first time against my Audino, and it looks to me like he still has enough health to get off a Belly Drum before he dies from losing 50% of his health. So I'm going to swap into Cofagrigus, hoping here that I'll be able to burn him, but he actually went straight ahead for the play rough. I'm not really sure why. He totally could have got off a belly drum there, man, and then just like swept the rest of my team, but I guess maybe he misclicked. I'm gonna say probably not, but anyway, he's just gonna continue to go for play roughs here. The Unburden did get cancelled out by, what do you call it, my Mummy ability, and right there he went for Drain Punch. So, dude, hello, I'm Ghost type. Did you think I was like Rock or something? Rock Dark, perhaps? I could see Cofagrigus maybe passing for that, but no, I'm Ghost. So your Drain Punches aren't going to help you whatsoever, and that turn he dies from the Rocky Helmet damage. So screw you, Slurpuff. Get off my field. And I did go for the Infestation that turn, and obviously it misses. So Tyranitar comes in now, and this guy could be a bit of a problem. LOL JK, he's not really a problem at all because I'm Cofagrigus and have a stupid amount of defense. So this turn he went for the Ice Beam, perhaps predicting me to outspeed and burn him before he could land a physical attack. But nah, son, I'm just going to go for that Will-O-Wisp because I'm slow as ass and can eat all the hits. And now T-Tar is effectively useless. Actually, I correct myself there. He's not effectively useless because he does have some special attacks which will not get affected by the burn damage. And I'm going to bring in Observer here. Get the Intimidate drop. So his attack is now at minus 100%. So it's... I'm not even sure how that works, honestly. His attack is minus 2 anyway. So... from the burn damage and from the Intimidate. So that's going to enable my Glass Cannon, that is Rampardos here, to come in, hopefully take any one hit from this thing. And the Rock Polish was honestly unnecessary because I outsped T-Tar anyway. And since only Rotom is left and there's rocks on the field, that was kind of pointless for me to even go for that. Oh wait, no, there's Aegislash left too. But let's be real, like honestly, how am I not going to outspeed Aegislash? Except if he goes for Shadow Sneak, which I should be able to take at least one of, I'm thinking. But we're about to find out as Aegislash comes in, and I was pretty much predicting him to want to go for the King Shield here because he didn't really have a reason not to. So sure enough, here comes the King's Shield. Rampardos is just going to go for another Rock Polish, seeing through that disguise, and now I'm up to +4 speed, which is completely overkill at this point, but this turn I'm just going to go for the Fire Punch, and I guess maybe you went for Sacred Sword that turn. You should have just gone for Shadow Sneak on the off chance you got a crit, but it didn't matter at this point because Rotom's his last poke, comes in, dies from the rock damage, and that is a GG. Well, not really for him because I full road him, but that's what you're supposed to say at the end of these things, GG. So anyway, yeah, good game, Scott. Can't say I was a fan of your team except for that T-Tar. And you did play reasonably well, I'm going to say, given what you had to work with. But this team of mine is just, unless you have something like carrying Taunt, which kind of shuts this team down really hard. I guess he did have Sableye with Taunt, but he let it die too soon. And I guess he didn't know the sets my other Mons were running, so he didn't really know that he'd need the Sableye later on. But, I mean, he should have kind of guessed that Forretress would be a hazard setter and Audino would be carrying utility and support moves, but maybe he just wasn't all that familiar with what either of them does. So, with that, I think that's all I have to say about this battle. I'm definitely going to be bringing Rampardos in some other games in the future. I have a Choice Scarf set with him as well that's running Mold Breaker instead of Sheer Force, so we'll see how that works out. And Slowking will return as well for some Regenerator Assault Vest antics. But again, with that, that's all for now, so I'll see you next time. Bye for now.